Hi, fifth graders. This is Miss Aubin with your Lesson 13 mini lesson. Connection. Have you ever met someone that you could not pin down into one category? And when we say this, we mean their personality traits, their character traits. Just like the people in our lives who are not all one way or all another way, characters in books are complicated. You might not be able to say that a character is all good or all bad. Your job is to look for flaws and admirable traits in your characters. We kind of touched on this earlier in the unit when we talked about how Professor Snape from Harry Potter, although he seemed all bad throughout most of the series, we realize he is complicated and complex because he had a reason to act the way he did, and it was truly out of love. So here's a familiar character that most of you may have heard about, seen, watched. Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. Tony Stark is pretty much a standard complex character. Yet he's kind of the guy you love to hate. In the beginning of the Iron Man series, you kind of hate him a little bit. He's rich, wealthy, has an attitude, he's sarcastic, doesn't really seem to care. He's pretty much into himself. As the Iron Man series kind of goes on, he starts to see the damage he has done through his business. And then he starts to realize he wants to make up for his actions. This is when he becomes Iron Man. He has the resources to become Iron Man, he has the money. He also is smart enough to know what he needs to do. And then as the series goes on, and you know that he is part of the Avengers series, he starts to struggle with becoming a hero and the burden of being a hero because it's slowly killing him. So he then begins to become a mentor to Peter Parker. And if you've watched it all the way up through Avengers Endgame, he fights for what is right. So the reason that Tony Stark is a complex character is although he has traits about him, he has flaws, that he is kind of selfish and he isn't always nice, and he does care a lot about his money and his looks and things like that. He does have a part about him that truly cares and that he truly has love. So that's what we talk about when we talk about a complex character. They have an opposing force. This can also be with the choices that a character makes, that they might think they have to do one thing or that they should do one thing but they also should do something else. So it's really when their choices become complicated and they have to sort of pick one way or the other. So let's take a look in your book. For example, if you're reading The Giver, Jonas, what's making him complex? Does he have to sort of choose between? Or what about his character traits makes him one way and another way? And if you're reading The Thief of Always, think about your main character or characters. And do they have traits about them that may not make them just a simple character? So think about, at least for this part, one character and determine a way that makes them complex. Remember to think about the ways the characters are complex in your book. You might want to write about their complexities in your journal today, which I'll show you in just a moment. Sometimes authors match the appearance of the character with their personality, like Rictus being creepy. So what this means here is sometimes the personality of the character is exactly like how they look. And other times it's the opposite. Harry Potter is plain, but his powers are extraordinary. This is kind of a way a character can be complex as well, based on their appearance. Talk with a family member or think about why authors create complex characters. Why do authors kind of surprise us with a character and make us not want to judge them at first and get to know more about them? So your job today is you're going to go into your note-taking sheet, and under Monday, you're going to write about what makes your character so complex. So I'm not expecting you to fill out every single bracket here, but do what you can. If you can at least get one of these rows down, that's excellent. So write down your character. What makes them complex? Is it their traits? I'm actually going to add that in here. Their wants, their struggles, their reactions. And then how does this connect to the theme? This part is going to be a little tougher. I'm going to say if you can at least do these two, that's a really great start. And if later on you can come back to this, that'd be awesome too. So if I was talking about Tony Stark here, I would say he is selfish, but he also deep down cares for others. I'm going to say on the outside, because I think people who don't really know Tony Stark think he is selfish and kind of arrogant, but deep down he cares for others. So that's a complexity. So when you're typing in here, I want you to type in something like this. Okay? All right, that's it for today, guys. I will see you tomorrow.